Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a highly requested video. It's what my kids eat in a day. It just so happens that it is actually mostly grain-free with the exception of one little snack. But yeah, it's a great way to see what eating gluten-free looks like for kids. This was an interesting day as well too because my kids were supposed to go to school, but there was an ice storm, so I kept them home. So for the sake of this video, that actually worked out well. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Be sure you subscribe before you leave and give it a like if you enjoy this video. So our breakfast usually starts around 6:30 in the morning most days. I start the kids with berries or some kind of fruit while I'm cooking the rest of the meal, and they'll just either play Lego or do some coloring. I like to keep them in the kitchen area so I can chat with them before they head off for their day. As you can see, both kids are given the exact same meal. So this morning it was an avocado with pink Himalayan sea salt, some lime juice, and then some baked butternut squash with coconut oil and cinnamon. And I made those homemade turkey breakfast sausages. It's just ground turkey, and then I do a breakfast spice blend. And to get some good probiotics in the morning, there's some sauerkraut there, and then some mixed berries, and always water. So even though I give the kids the exact same meals, I let them navigate the plate. So for example, my youngest son didn't eat any of his squash, but he ended up eating 3 of those breakfast sausages. So that was completely fine by me. My oldest son ate everything because he's just a really great eater overall and not picky whatsoever. Fresh fruits or fresh vegetables are a favorite snack of mine to give my kids because they're whole foods, which is great, but I also like them for their practicality. I can cut up some fruits and veggies and serve it on a plate in under 5 minutes, so I like that convenience factor. This morning we did some sliced up cucumbers, some celery sticks, and then I did half of a Lara bar that I just cut up into small bite-sized pieces. Of course, there had to be an even number of pieces, so it ended up being 2 little bite-sized pieces per kid. You can't rip off one kid and give the other kid more. They're always paying attention. So that was kind of like a nice little treat for them. They don't get this too often. I just prefer to keep it at fruit and veggies for simplicity's sake. And the other thing that I really like to do is to serve it on what I call the share plate. So it's a communal plate where everyone eats from. I think it's a great idea. The lunchbox that should have gone to school but didn't, they had that at lunch at home instead. So we did some original sea snacks as one of their snack options. And then we also did this gluten-free free yum bar. It's a raspberry chia bar. The only grains that they had today were these gluten-free oats, which was just in a tiny little bar. So not a big deal, but that's a really good gluten-free bar to give your kids if they go to school because it's also free of a bunch of other top allergens. And then they just did some leftover chicken sausage, and I just put in a little side of mustard in there so they can dip it. Some clementines, more cucumbers, my kids love them, and plantain chips, and that's their lunch. So we didn't do an afternoon snack today. They got enough at lunch. My kids are pretty fat adaptive as long as I'm giving them enough fat in the morning, which they had with the avocado, and then throughout the day, they're good. So we just did an afternoon tea instead. I find that they don't necessarily need to have an afternoon snack most days. If they're going through a growth spurt, that's a different story. But otherwise, it affects their dinner time too much. And we were having an early dinner, so I didn't want them spoiling their dinner. So we just did some herbal tea with some homemade almond milk. And that is a poop emoji mug that my son painted. So that's actually my plate. I'm just showing you guys before I cut up the meat and give it to my kids. We did some chicken legs, bone in, skin on. It's always more flavorful. And then we just did some roasted tomatoes with balsamic, oregano, olive oil, pretty basic, sweet potato fries, and then a very sad iceberg lettuce salad. We were out of our regular lettuce, so this is what we had to do. And then before bed, they get a little mug of what we call sleepy tea. So it's magnesium citrate. It's an ionized form of magnesium, so it gets absorbed really well. And it's just a powder that you mix into some hot water and serve it like a tea. My kids love this stuff. I've done a couple of them. Another one that you'll probably be familiar with is the one from Natural Calm. This is very similar, although I find it a lot less sweet than the Natural Calm, which is great. So we've switched the majority of our magnesium citrates to the ones from NACA. I'll leave a link for it down below. Any of the products that I've mentioned, if I can find a link, I will add a link to it. So you just use a little bit of water, specifically because I don't want my kids waking up to go to the bathroom, but I also want to make sure that they're drinking the entire mug and getting that nice dose of magnesium to help relax them. It's effervescent, so you can stir that out, or you can leave it if your kids like it. And that's basically what a day in the life of my kids' meals look like. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care. Ciao.